Hello there. I'm going to talk to you today about combined English at A level. So that basically combines English language and English literature together. And pretty much it's the best of both worlds. You get to do critical essay writing as well as being creative in the responses that you produce as well. The sorts of texts that you do as well are quite wide-ranging, which means that it's really interesting to study. And you also get a lot of scope when it comes to the NEA, the independent study and pretty much coursework on what you want to do. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just go through some of the details of what you might expect, and then leading on to the sorts of things that you might like to do using this qualification. Okay, so first of all, when you're in the first year of A level, you study a Paris Anthology. Now, for this one, what you basically study are lots and lots of different types of texts and lots of new terminology, which looks at the representation of Paris from various lenses. So it may be from the perspective of somebody writing a web page. It could be the online chat between people in comparison to something by Hemingway earlier, where it talks about what Paris used to be like years and years ago. And what you do is you compare the texts and pick out some of the details linguistically from those. So if you're wanting to learn lots of new things and applying, almost like in psychology, lots of theory to the things that you're studying, then it's ideal for that. We then, on the same paper, look at Dracula, which is a fantastic book to teach. And interestingly, you study quite a bit to do with the era and the period in which it's set, and in particular what it was like in terms of the sensationalism of reporting, so the styles of reporting of criminal events and that sort of thing. You're also looking at the way in which language is used to convey a place, but in particular as a Gothic setting and all the Gothic conventions. Things like the untrammelled immigration and prejudice and xenophobia towards Eastern Europeans, and how that filtered in on the perception and the characterisation of Dracula as an evil foe. Okay, so lots to go on with that, and it's essentially an extract question, so you get a choice of 2 extracts. You even have the book in the exam as well, which is fantastic. So it's really good, sort of step up really from GCSE to be doing that. Moving on then, we also look at looking at the Kite Runner. The Kite Runner is a fantastic novel all about Afghanistan over a period, and it's all about social political unrest. But instead of, like in literature, looking at it from that lens, what you do is you write from the point of view of a minor character, usually perhaps a female character without a voice in the book, and then how it's significant. So you adopt and write in the style of an author, and then you have to write a critical commentary on basically how clever you were in doing that. So it's a whole new way of studying a text, but again, a really interesting one. The other fab text we do is Othello, the Shakespearean play, and interestingly, we watch the National Theatre and Globe versions of those to accompany our understanding, both in the Elizabethan context and now. And basically, we're looking at it from the point of view of its conflict, how characters talk to one another, how they manipulate one another, and how they get the very worst and best out of people according to their own agenda. So it's really clever the way that you're looking at it from that perspective. As well as this, you do Carol Ann Duffy's poetry. There's probably no more than at GCSE that you study, but they're all by the same author, same collection, and you can look really carefully then at the statement questions that you'd be doing based on that. There's plenty of space in this course, so it basically means that you will get a chance to really explore them and become expert in them ultimately over the 2-year course. One of my favourite parts of the course is the NEA, the coursework element, which basically means that you can choose a non-fiction text and a fiction text, and that could even be a collection of poems, even a play and a novel, and you're looking at the connection and the disparity between them. So for example, it might be the representation of war in Wilfred Owen's poetry versus the censored letters he sent home. But it's entirely up to you what you do. We would just guide you on an accompanying text that might be good. That you might be interested in lots of different things, and we narrow it down. But nobody does studies the same, so that you can all stand out and be brilliant. It's a great course, one that's really good for making connections, being sophisticated in the way that you express ideas and argue a point of view, citing particular examples. The sorts of careers that it might lead to might be, if you're interested in studying English, for example, but also law, psychology, lots of different subjects that you might be interested in following it. And all of the details for that are in the booklet that you've got too. Okay, well, nice to meet you virtually, and I hope you're interested in doing combined English at A-level.